a session on Bullish on Bharat, powering capital market revolution. It is indeed our honor to have amidst us Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan ji, the MD NSE. And in a moment, we are getting the days all decked up to invite the erudite persona, grace the days, and I'll request CA Priti Savla ji, the Central Council member, ICAI, and CA Arpit Kabra ji, the Central Council member, ICAI, to kindly escort on today's. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed our honor to have amidst us the father of modern financial derivatives, Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan ji. And it seems we are all ready to welcome the distinguished erudite persona on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, the MD, CEO of National Stock Exchange of India, a technocrat from IIT Bombay, a scholar of IIM Calcutta, a founding team member at NSE, and only if 2025 was the year to talk of, Sir's cradle is full of achievements and accolades like the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Regulation Asia and by Outlook Business, Impactful CEO Award by Times Group, and the CEO of the Year by Asia Asset Management 2025. An absolute honor to have you amidst us, sir. A very warm welcome, and inviting now for the opening remarks, CA Priti Savla ji, the Central Council member, ICAI.
Good morning, everyone. Very respected President ICAI and government nominees, councils, galaxy of past presidents, and we are having Shri Ashish Chauhan ji over here to share his words of wisdom, the keynote address, and a lot of sentiments, friends, are going since morning. I'm saying about the word Bharat and India, referring to the broader and domestically driven Indian economy, powering the capital market revolution, which is strongly positive, characterized by a structural, long-term growth story rather than short-term what is happening in the capital market and what I was hearing in the previous session. So it is all about the long-term growth story, and that is what I recollect as when Ashish bhai is there on the dais. It is all about in the 90s, 92, 93 somewhere, when the government wanted this National Stock Exchange to come to have it and come into place in India. And this is from IDBI Bank when Ashish bhai was there. He is one of the person out of 5 people team to form for the formation of this National Stock Exchange. And something about some 20-25 crores investment. He might be giving the exact numbers. And growing to this level, the journey in last 3 decades, if we see, friends, it is investments, the intentions of these promoters, the government, the support of the government, the discipline which I was, which was discussed in the last session, the discipline, the regulatory requirements which have been framed to make the exchanges very strong and which were rigorously followed, and now bringing in this journey since in these 3 decades to this 5 lakh crores of valuation. Friends, it is not easy. It is only because of the strong discipline following the regulatory requirements it has brought to this level. And the person who has been there at the inception of this exchange, the founder member of this exchange, is now taking the charge as a MD and CEO. And friends, and yesterday I have, and all the public news, everyone has seen that the SEBI has given approval yesterday to bring the clear bring this IPO for NSE, and this is one of the best movement, I would say, for National Stock Exchange as far as the India and as far as a globally concerned. And I'm sure this will actually bring a lot of insights and power to the Indian economy. And friends, let us hear. This is like setting the tone of this session. A lot of things to hear from Ashish Bhai. As we are seeing the investor protection and the government and the SEBI always sees how the investors are being protected, how the stakeholders' interest is protected, and that is how the investor protection fund, settlement guarantee fund, and all has been created. And if anything happens to anyone, our exchanges are so strong that Indian economy can never fall. And that is how has been created over a period of time. And that is how the investors are protected and the confidence is being shown. Let us hear from Ashish Bhai a whole lot of about the India growth story and what economy is going to come with the words of so Ashish Bhai, we are very happy in spite of a lot of coordination going with your regulators. Yesterday you got this. I know how he will be happy because a lot of efforts have been put from the foundation of NSE to bringing to this level. And we are very happy to have you here on this day and actually taking your views on this forum. So we welcome you. Thank you very much.
Respected Shri Krishna Gopalji, Shri Charanjot Singh Nandaji, President ICAI, Srimati Preeti Savlaji, distinguished members of ICAI, respected regulators, policymakers, esteemed professionals from the global accounting and financial community, members of media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It's a privilege to address the World Forum of Accountants 2.0, hosted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the world's largest accounting body and one of India's most respected institutions. I thank the President and the Council, ICAI, for this invitation and for creating a platform where the profession that safeguards credibility in finance engages directly with the institutions that mobilize capital for growth. The theme of this year's forum, Nation Building to Global Collaboration, Strengthening Trust, Enabling Growth, could not be more timely. As capital moves faster and markets become more interconnected, trust now determines economic outcomes built through disclosure, discipline, and accountability. In modern economies, trust does not emerge by accident. It rests on a powerful triangle: institutions, professions, and markets. Let me take you to an interesting story. The 20th century, in a way, went in fight between two isms. It was created, ism didn't exist before. It was created by a person called Karl Marx. He wanted to promote a framework called communism, so he created another world called capitalism. And literally, the 20th century, the world was framed by a grand ideological divide: capitalism versus communism. Nations were expected and made to choose sides by force or by otherwise. Systems were rigid and economic models were treated like faith, like religion. That rigid world, which started in 1920s with Lenin taking over Russia and then, of course, creating USSR post World War II. It started dissolving around 37 years back. The Berlin Wall fell in 1989. And what collapsed in the collapse of Berlin Wall was not just the wall, but literally the communism. And people thought that capitalism won. But the fact is that belief that societies could be permanently organized around closed ideologies, regimented ideologies, even capitalism for me is a regimented ideology. What followed was a different ism which we have not yet recognized. We still think that capitalism won. But for me, what won was marketism. Today, we live in the age of marketism. Neither communism, nor capitalism, nor any other ism. Market is the new god. Marketism is not capitalism. It is not communism. It is not about who owns the means of production, but about how efficiently information, capital, goods, and more importantly, trust move through society. It is a system where price discovery, transparency, and speed matter more than ideology. Look at the real world. China, even now, is a communist country, but it follows the new god, marketism. It's a market-first economy. Prices, competition, capital allocation, and global trade, rather than central planning, drive outcomes even in China. The Communist Party in China governs politics, but the markets govern economics. The United States has evolved into a fully market-driven society. We think it's capitalism. It is not. Where financial markets, technology, platforms, and real-time data influence everything from consumer behavior to national policy. Europe, despite its social welfare structures, is deeply market-oriented. Integrated capital markets, open trade, competition laws, and digital platforms form the backbone of that economy. The former USSR and East European countries, once symbols of command economies, are now firmly embedded into market systems. Privatization, stock markets, cross-border capital, and entrepreneurial ecosystems. Vietnam, governed by a single communist party, no elections, is today fully market-driven. Open trade, foreign investments, and they have double per capita GDP compared to India. This global convergence tells us one thing clearly: market is the new philosophy. Markets have become the new glue that binds societies, connects countries, and propels the world forward. They coordinate billions of decisions daily without ideology, without borders, and increasingly without human intervention. Markets that once could not be automated, trading, clearing, settlement, credit scoring, compliance, audits, are now being automated at scale. And as markets accelerate, the need for trust and transparency becomes even more critical. That is why accountant professionals like you and financial professionals like you are essential for the age of marketism. In financial markets, especially the masses expect fast, correct, and up-to-date information. Accountants ensure that information is reliable before it reaches markets. Transparency prevails over manipulation. Efficiency does not come at the cost of integrity. While technology executes, accountants validate. While markets move fast, accountants ensure they move right. The modern world is no longer governed by old isms. It is governed by markets and supported by the trust that is created by many people. That includes the accountants as the backbone. And so salute to all of you for being there, creating that market trust. In some ways, the Institute of Chartered Accountants and NSE are joined at the hip. Without you giving all the details of companies, what they are doing, what they are not doing, what profits they are making. And profit, you know, is very ephemeral. Unless a chartered accountant says it's a profit, we don't believe. And that's why your role in creating this trust is very important. Many times, I wonder, we are celebrating 79 years of India's independence. What did we earn in this last 79 years? Many people can say many things. When India became independent, it was not even clear whether we will remain one after 20 years. Instead, Winston Churchill said famously that India may not last for 20 years. After 79 years, I always wonder, what did we earn? We have earned a lot of things, but one more important thing we earned is our small investors' trust in our entrepreneurs. Today, NSE alone has 12.5 crore investors, 9.5 crore households. 25% of all households in India now invest in this trust market. What is that trust? A person sitting in Arunachal Pradesh, a person sitting in Andaman Nicobar, a person sitting in Ladakh is putting her 1,000 rupees, hard-earned 1,000 rupees. That 1,000 rupees is important to her. In a company coming out with an SME IPO in Salem in Tamil Nadu, near Coimbatore, she has a complete confidence that that money will be used by the entrepreneur wisely. He will work hard for that money, make profits, and that small little part which comes to her or which is her right as dividend will come to her. It's such a great leap of faith. Person sitting 3,000 kilometers away is having that faith in that entrepreneur. And that is the trust our entrepreneurs have earned over last 79 years. What is the outcome? Today, with this 12.5 crore investors, 25% women, 25% of households in India, it accounts for 1/3 of India's wealth, the wealth of trust. For me, the nations are built not by borders which are physical. They are borders here in our minds. These borders are created by the stories we tell each other. Our traditions, our culture, our patriotism is basically about ourselves in our mind. Each of us carry that little India in our mind. And that is for me, that trust. And that trust of small little people putting 1,000 rupees each into other small entrepreneurs' dreams with complete confidence. And for me, no other country in the world today has a market like India has. Per capita income of India is now $3,000. We think it's large. It is not. There are countries like America with $60,000 per capita income. Europe has $50,000 per capita income average. Japan is in similar range. Even South Korea has $38,000 per capita income. We are not high per capita income country. And there are economic books, economic theories written which say that per capita income, low per capita income countries cannot have well-functioning capital markets. Why? Because poor people cannot save. And even many people, because most of their money which they earn goes into subsistence. So they cannot save. And even if they save, they don't trust their brothers because there are no institutions to trust each other. How India has been able to develop this market, which is what I call trust market. And accountants, the chartered accountants had played a very important role in creating these markets by coming out with correct information that the companies need to provide every quarter, every material information as and when that happens. $5 trillion, when NSE was created in 1992, started work in 1994, the market capitalization of entire country was 3,80,000 crore. Today, the market capitalization of the country is now 4,50,000 crore. Almost more than 125 times. What has happened? At that time, only 10 lakh or less people, 1 million people, were investing into stock markets in other people's businesses. Today, 125 million people, 12.5 crore people are investing in India's stock markets. Small people investing in other small people's. And India is an exception to the rule where low capital, low per capita income countries cannot have well-functioning markets. We are the only exception. We are now the fourth largest capital market in the world after US, China and Japan. Our percentage of people investing in stock markets is now larger than France, Germany. Much more developed, higher per capita income country because our people trust our entrepreneurs. And that is where, for me, we have to continue to maintain that trust. Trust is very difficult to create, very easy to give up. And chartered accountants have a huge role to play. They have played a great role over the last 30 years. If India has to grow, for me, I have this theory that technologies create wealth. And last 400 or 500 years, the waves of technology have come faster and faster, and that's where the wealth has been created faster and faster. The Industrial Revolution in Europe created more wealth than that was created 10,000 years before. And each wave is coming faster, which means the wealth will be created faster. Who can create that wealth? It is the young population, because they are the ones which are going to adapt to new technologies, not the old population. India is one of the youngest populations in the world, which is also technology oriented. And that's where India has a good chance to make huge wealth over the next 30, 50 years. And it can come only and only if we continue to maintain trust in our entrepreneurs, our businesses by masses. And they require faster, better information. The other theory I have is that earlier you required huge money to create businesses. That's why it was called capitalism. You required capital to create more capital. Today, after technology has moved with information technology and other newer technologies coming, you require less capital to start, and you can still create very large businesses, billions of dollars like Swiggy, Zomato, and many other businesses have started with people, even recently Misho. They started with very little capital. Those boys came from other parts of India. They did not have money to start. They started with little money, not their own. Somebody invested. And then they grew up. So for me, I call the new modern world, which does not require a lot of capital to create more capital. It's called capitalism without capital. But you still require little capital. And if you don't have that money to start your dream projects, you can come to NSE, list your businesses, and of course, chartered accountants across India can play a role in hand-holding those companies which are there in interiors of India to train them to ensure that books of accounts meet the standards that are required for public markets, bring them to the markets, give them the funds to expand them nationwide and internationally. Now that we have started doing FTAs with EU, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and every other country, we are going to have the world in our stride. And all our entrepreneurs deserve to come to the markets with the help of chartered accountants and make it big. India's time has come, and all of you are required. Whoever has come from across the world, I've been told this conference is 8,000 people, all chartered accountants. Please go back to places where you come from. Give the stories of how youngsters have made billions for themselves. To all the entrepreneurs you meet, the accounting you do for them, train them, ensure that books of accounts meet the standards that are required for public markets. Discipline them, handhold them, and ensure that wealth is created out of the income, because entrepreneurs have income. They are frightened sometimes by reading newspapers that companies get taken over. That is only an exception. When you list on the markets, you are able to actually create wealth out of your income. And I request all the chartered accountants, in addition to doing accounting, Now you have a way to become evangelist of the markets. Bring the companies to list. India is 17% of world population. We need 17% of, at least 17% of world's listed companies. We are on a very small number currently, around 3,000 companies, $5 trillion. We need to go to $30, $40 trillion over next 20, 30 years in terms of market capitalization. All of you will have to work hard. You will get more income, but more importantly, you will be working towards improvement in the nation, creating new billionaires in your own cities. And that's why I wanted to come here and give you this message that India is open for business. India is open to fund you. It's not necessary that a venture capitalist has not funded you, private equity person has not funded you, because they may not like your business. But I have 12.5 crore investors. Even 10,000 of them, even 1,000 of them like your business ideas, they will fund you. Out of 12.5 crore, 1,000 people are easy to convince. And they are not going to put tremendous conditions on you, which the other people put, the venture capitalists, private equity people. There is a standard through which any chartered accountant can take you through in terms of discipline, in terms of reporting. And that's the easy way. Of course, it will give you the wings to the business that entrepreneurs are doing. And that's why India is open for business. All chartered accountants, please help your entrepreneurs to come to markets and create wealth. Thank you very much.
Deeply grateful for your sagacious address, sir. And now may I please invite CA Arpit Kabraji, the Central Council member, ICAI, for the vote of thanks. Sir, we do learn that you have a flight to catch, but a swift vote of thanks here to acknowledge your gracious presence amidst us.
Good morning, everyone. सबसे पहले आज सुबह जो वृंदावन धाम में जो दर्शन हुए हमें प्रेमानंद जी महाराज के लिए, तो उसके लिए जो आज दिल में एक शांति की भावना है, उसे बयान करते हुए मैं सिर्फ आप लोग के बीच में कहना चाहूँगा, राधे राधे। This was a very interesting session, and thanks to Sridhar Bhai, who just filled me in my absence. And I just, as I entered, Ashish ji was speaking. Whenever Ashish ji has been on this dais at ICAI, I think he has made one very important sentence. He has brought business sense to for all the chartered accountants. See, most of these speakers would come and talk about, so we heard capital markets earlier. There were other opportunities, the other technical stuff, fundamental stuff that we talk about. But when Ashish ji comes, it's a very unique blend. He always brings in some international perspective. And most importantly, if each one of you who are sitting here can identify and can relate to what he is saying, give a perspective. He immediately mentioned today one very important thing. From wherever you are, please go back to that place. And I echo this narrative of his because as the vice chairman of MSME committee, when we went to raise funds in Singapore, we selected 10 startups from this country. We took them to a program called the Next Leap in Singapore. The ICAI Singapore chapter is also here, and they would say this with huge pride. There were funds, around more than 14 funds from across the globe who were there. And all of them echoed one thing, that we need help of chartered accountants, we need help of ICAI to invest in real Bharat. They don't want to invest in India now. They want to really invest in Bharat. And that is what makes this story an amazing story for all of us. And what Ashish ji really mentioned, go back to where you've come from, any place, every startup, every entrepreneur that you know. This is the time for all of them. The training is what we can do. And I therefore dedicate this small little, and Ashish ji just taking cue from what he said, I believe we are a real nest. N is networking that we do. E is entrepreneurship. With people like you, we want to bring up that entrepreneurship in almost every chartered accountant, train, try and see if we can bring them back, get that money for them. S is soft skills. And today, since I have come from Vrindavan, S is even spirituality. There was a chartered accountant who is the secretary of the Premanand Maharaj ji set up. He ensured that we, all of us together, get a good darshan from Premanand ji. So 30, 40 people of us were there. A chartered accountant out of nowhere, Gautam Chilani, came. He was in active practice. And he gave up his practice in 2016, 2006 qualified chartered accountant. His name is of course changed now. But he automatically came, he saw with us as chartered accountants. He said, sir, aapka darshan hum karayenge. That is entrepreneurship. And coupled with spirituality, I think it can rise to a next level. And the last part of nest, that is the T, is technology. If we blend all of this, the networking, entrepreneurship, soft skills / spirituality and technology, I think all of us as chartered accountants have a great role to do. Under the able leadership of our President Charanjot Singh Nanda Saab and Vice President Vishakhapatnam se jo aaye hamare Prasanna Kumar DG and the entire council members, I really thank all of you who have made here to this wonderful event, the World Forum of Accountants. But friends, you are here, you will hear all of them, you'll clap and you go, but instead I'll tell you, please take away some relevant things. And in order to take away some relevant things, you need to actually write them, you need to actually talk about them, and you need to actually spread that word across. So use your LinkedIns, use your Instagram, use your social media, whatever. But whatever you are hearing from him, make sure that you make some note. You write it for someone. Who reads it, I don't know. But you need to explain it to at least 5 to 10 people, because then only it will stay with you. ICAI itself provides as an examiner, as a peer reviewer, as a faculty of DAB, faculty of AI, faculty of whatnot, some brilliant opportunities for all of you. And I'm sure that we'll do something great. Thank you very much, and thank you Ashish ji for joining us. Let's have a round of applause for Ashish ji, and thank you CA Preeti Savla madam.
Our earnest sense of gratitude to Shri Ashish Kumar Chauhan ji, the MD NSC, for making this event truly an epochal one with his words of wisdom. We are truly grateful. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we culminate this session.